Since the dawn of human consciousness, birds have captivated our imagination, not merely for their ability to soar above the earth or fill the air with song, but for what they seem to represent. Across time, cultures, and belief systems, birds have been revered as messengers, symbols of the soul, intermediaries between heaven and earth, and bearers of secret wisdom. Central to this symbolic reverence is the ancient and enigmatic concept known as the language of birds. What is it? A forgotten sacred tongue? A metaphor for divine insight? Or is it a real, sophisticated form of communication practiced by our avian counterparts? As we'll explore, the phrase language of birds has layers of meaning, weaving through mythology, mysticism, literature, and modern science, offering both spiritual inspiration and biological intrigue. A sacred tongue in myth and mysticism. In the mystical traditions of many ancient cultures, birds were not simply animals. They were seen as creatures imbued with spiritual knowledge. One of the most beautiful and profound literary references to the language of birds can be found in Sufi mysticism, in the 12th century Persian poem The Conference of the Birds by Farid ud-Din Attar. In this spiritual allegory, a group of birds, each representing a different human fault or virtue, embark on a journey to find the legendary King Simurgh. The hoopoe bird, a figure often associated with wisdom in Islamic literature, leads the way, speaking a language that transcends the physical realm, a language not of words but of divine understanding. The bird's journey is, in truth, a metaphor for the soul's journey to God, and their speech is a symbol of the pure, intuitive connection that exists between creation and the Creator. Metaphor, symbolism, and esoteric wisdom. In literature, this idea of birds as carriers of secret knowledge persists. Writers like Dante, William Blake, J.R.R. Tolkien, and Umberto Eco have all included birds or bird speech in their works as symbols of prophecy, mystery, or magical wisdom. In Tolkien's Legendarium, for example, birds often serve as messengers of higher powers, beings that can speak and offer warnings or guidance. In poetry, the nightingale's song is often romanticized as a metaphor for sorrow, longing, or eternal truth. The literary bird does not merely chirp, speaks of truths beyond words. Scientific reality, communication in the avian world. Beyond myth and metaphor, birds truly do have a language of their own, and science is only beginning to fully appreciate its complexity. Birds use a rich array of vocalizations to communicate, including songs, calls, squawks, whistles, clicks, and even non-vocal sounds made by their feathers or wings. Each of these serves a distinct purpose: to attract mates, defend territory, coordinate group movements, or warn of danger. Some species are so advanced in their communication that they exhibit syntax-like structure in their songs, arranging specific sequences of notes in ways that suggest rules or patterns similar to human language. For instance, songbirds like the zebra finch and white-throated sparrow can learn complex song sequences through imitation and repetition. These birds often learn their songs during a critical developmental period, much like how human babies acquire language. Even more fascinating is the concept of regional dialects among birds of the same species. A song sparrow in one region may sing differently from a sparrow just a few hundred kilometers away, much like how human accents vary geographically. These dialects can affect mate choice and social interaction within bird populations, showing that bird communication is not only learned and adaptive, but also socially significant. Birds renowned for mimicry, such as parrots, mynah birds, and lyrebirds, can reproduce not just bird sounds but also human speech, alarms, car engines, and other environmental noises. African gray parrots, in particular, have demonstrated remarkable cognitive abilities, including the use of words to identify objects, express desires, and even ask questions, suggesting a degree of conceptual understanding once thought exclusive to humans. Symbolism, spirituality, and soul. Beyond their communicative abilities, birds remain powerful symbols in almost every human culture. A dove is nearly universally seen as a symbol of peace, purity, and the Holy Spirit. An owl represents wisdom, mystery, and the unseen, often appearing in literature as a guide to deeper truths. The raven, associated with both death and prophecy, symbolizes transformation and the unknown. The mythical phoenix, which burns in flames and is reborn from its ashes, stands for resurrection, renewal, and immortality. These symbolic meanings tie directly into the notion of birds as bearers of messages and carriers of the soul. Many ancient cultures believed that birds could ferry the soul to the afterlife, or that they were manifestations of the soul itself. Their ability to move freely between the ground and the sky made them natural intermediaries between earth and the divine, reinforcing the idea that their language might carry truths inaccessible by ordinary means. The deeper meaning, an invitation to listen. What can we learn from this ancient and modern fascination with the language of birds? Perhaps more than anything, it is a reminder to listen deeply and live attentively. In our fast-paced, noisy world, filled with digital chatter and artificial light, we often overlook the subtle, rhythmic conversations of the natural world. Birdsong, in its many forms, is not just beautiful, it's meaningful. It is an invitation to reconnect with the earth, with us, and with the unseen threads that connect all life. Whether you approach the language of birds as a spiritual metaphor, a poetic symbol, or a scientific phenomenon, the underlying message is the same. There is wisdom all around us, if only we take the time to hear it. The mystery of bird language is not necessarily in the sounds themselves, but in what they represent. A bridge between the known and the unknown, the visible and the invisible, the earthly and the divine. The language of birds may remain partially hidden, always just out of reach. But that very elusiveness is part of its magic. Keeps us curious, keeps us wondering, and perhaps most importantly, it keeps us listening.